they got these things called the metal tables. And if you sat at the metal table, that was basically like Buster, Levi, you ain't shit type shit. And in the Bloods, being I was by myself, we didn't have no table. We didn't have no chairs. We played in the Southback chairs, like you saw in the rows, and they got these little Cadillac chairs that everybody, like my homeboy sits at this chair, he sits at this chair. So when I got there was no extra chairs, so I started to sit at the table for like a week, maybe two. And then Sheik got over there, then we got some chairs, and we started establishing our little area because the homie B-Rat came from Inglewood, NHP, and then one other homie came. So we ended up getting like 4 Bloods right there, and we started getting some establishment. But it was never really no Crip and Blood problem like that on Cleveland. When I first got over there, I had like 2 tattoos. And one's a Waterfront Power Rule with a big old CK number 1 under it. And my boy, he from Spooktown, named Lil Reno. He had called me over there by his chair. And he was like, "What's that say on your arm?" I was like, "Waterfront Power Rule." And he said, "What's that right there?" I said, "CK." And he tested me. And he's like, "What that stand for?" And if you didn't have no heart, you wouldn't go to repeat it. You know what I mean? I was like, "It stands for Crab Killer." And he started laughing. He was like, "All right, I was just trying to see if you was going, basically back there and stand on what you were saying." You know what I mean? So I was just telling him that's what it stands for. And then he was like, "All right." But Cleveland was cool. I had a homie named Twin that I was in the next unit, Roosevelt, the Samoan homie. He ended up going there. So I had another homie that was a Mexican from the hood at the time named Donut. He was there. And then the homie Peanut from Carson. Because anything that's like Carson or Wilmington, I consider it the same. Because we all down there went to school together, know each other. You know what I mean? So it's down there like 2 cities in one with me. So, and then my homie Sleep from Cabbage Patch was there. My homie One Shot from Scottsdale Pop was there. So it was like 5, 6 homies from my area there. And then I had an enemy there, but he was on like them, which was Lil Devil from 190. And then I had an enemy named Lil Blue from Dodge City. He was there too, but he was on a lockup unit, so we barely even seen each other. But my little fights I had and all that little stuff didn't really come with enemies. It just came from like inner house unit, you know what I mean, fighting over the microwave, fighting because like they'll drop you Levi, like little shit like, you ever heard of that? The Levi word?
Yeah, of course. That's like, a derogatory word, yeah.
Like, yeah, so we used to run lockers in Nellis. So as soon as you find out someone got dropped Levi, you be like, I'm trying to get in his locker before anybody else get in it. Because if he throw a fuck and say, fuck your day, whatever, his fuck really don't count because he's a Levi.